Hey there. Thanks to everybody who participated in the survey. So to share with you guys what I'm finding, most salon sizes that have responded have about 2 groomers. Half of the people believe that there's a shortage of groomers. What was interesting was 9 out of 10 people believe that there's a shortage of qualified groomers. So this tells us that quality is an issue, not head count. For the question of when you do find groomers, how would you rate their skill level? About half said moderately qualified. The other half said barely qualified. And to date, no one has responded highly qualified. This supports the concern that quality is the issue of the employee pool that we have. The question, have you ever hired a groomer who was stuck in their own ways? 9 out of 10 people said yes. Nearly every groomer these salons is hiring are underperforming and resistance to guidance at the same time. Technical skill and mindset are failing together. So it's not just training gaps, it's bad training habits being reinforced over time. The moderately qualified group, they're experienced but appear to be uncoachable. And then the barely qualified group, they could probably be easier to develop because they have fewer bad habits, but they may not have any baseline standards. Do you do any kind of training in-house was a question. Half and half, some training or a lot of training. And then the next question is, that kind of goes with that, is do you feel like you're always starting over when someone new comes in? 2 out of 3 people said yes, all the time. That means the problem isn't the lack of training effort that our salons are doing. It kind of guides us towards the lack of a repeatable system. So trying to find a way to train people that, again, is repeatable and scalable for the salon.
And here's another supporting piece of evidence. When asked what the hardest part when you bring someone new in is, there's a good handful of all of the aboves and all of the above. But you'll notice that getting them to do things right and finding time to show them how are major factors in the issues salons are having with training people. And those two go hand in hand. If we don't get enough time to show them how, they're not going to do things right. If we don't have enough time to assess their performance, they're not going to get things right.
By spending so much time training and having to retrain the next person and retrain the next person, that also lends us into the hiring section. What I'm understanding is that I need to bring more hiring practices and information to the salon leaders. If we've got resistance to change, poor attitude or accountability, and misaligned quality and standards, that leads me to believe that we need to look at some consistency in our training and how we deliver that to the trainees. If we had something, again, more consistent in our industry and maybe even in our region, that could really help bolster and sustain those types of employees. Another one of the questions was, do you think educational requirements would improve quality? 7 out of 10 people support safety standards and additional education. And then there were some people who responded unsure. That leads me to believe that that remainder of individuals might just be unsure of what that would look like. So it's pretty normal for humans to not be able to make a decision on something, yes or no, when they don't really know what it looks like. Next question, would corporate academies help solve the shortage? 6 out of 10 said that they doubt it. That tells me what's coming out of corporate are probably those experienced individuals who are less coachable. I asked, would a local grooming school help? And just over 50% said maybe or yes. This tells me that there's a little bit of cautious interest. I know for myself that the individuals that have come out of schools and have worked for me, they were very sure of their skills, but unfortunately they weren't taught professional productivity, and they also weren't taught that there's more than one way to do things in the industry, and so that put a lot of friction between myself and them. When I asked, do you think having a formal career path would motivate individuals to enter the industry, 6 out of 10 people said yes. 3 out of 10 maybe, and then one person said no. I'm going to go through a few questions and I'm going to answer at the end. I'm going to put my commentary in at the end. Could a trade style model work for grooming? So like electricians or vet techs? 6 out of 10 said yes. Do you know anyone who's been through an apprenticeship in another trade? An average of 3 out of 4 said yes. I asked if a earn while you learn apprenticeship would fit your salon. The number went down to 50% as a maybe. That tells me that, again, most people may not be able to picture how that would work in a salon. Do you think a clear career path or apprenticeship would help the shortage? 50% said yes, but still a third said maybe. So a couple of my thoughts on this. Understanding that trainees go through a process of learning. They become task aware, they become process aware, and then we move them into system awareness. It's imperative that we get employees to learn the task and then understand the process so that then they know how that affects the entire system. So instead of just brushing a dog, it's we brush like this, it's a process, so that we can get the tangles out so that it doesn't tangle up the next time, so that the haircut looks better. That's the system. So that our customers are satisfied and we come back. Again, that's task aware, process aware, system aware. So when I actually apply this to training, I realized that a lot of salon owners are aware that we have the task of training. And some may even already have some of their process. But until we get into a system and realize how each one builds on the next, we just are unable to visualize or see how this process of training and building out a system can actually help. So that's going to be my homework, is to figure out how to bring this information to you so that you understand how a training system works. But first, we're going to dial that back to tasks, the process of training, and then a systematic way to train people so that you can understand the apprenticeship.